You know what blows my mind? The idea that some of humanity's brightest minds step away from groundbreaking discoveries to pursue something seemingly simpler. Today we're exploring a fascinating story about a quantum physicist who traded particle accelerators for weather forecasting.
That's such an intriguing career pivot. The contrast between manipulating subatomic particles and predicting weather patterns really captures something deeper about the nature of scientific pursuit.
Well, what really strikes me is how this story of Alistair Humphrey reflects a broader tension in the scientific community. Here's someone who was at the absolute cutting edge of quantum physics. We're talking about the kind of research that could revolutionize computing, energy, everything, and he just walks away.
Hmm, but was it really walking away? Or was it more about finding a different way to apply scientific knowledge?
You know, that's exactly what makes this so fascinating. The story shows how he's actually confronting the same fundamental questions, just from a completely different angle. Instead of exploring the smallest building blocks of the universe, he's studying these massive weather systems that affect people's daily lives.
The way his former colleague Evelyn Reed responds is really telling. That line where she asks, "Running away, Alistair?" It's loaded with so much judgment and assumption.
Oh man. And that's where the story gets really interesting. Because later, through that letter she sends him, we see how she's starting to wrestle with the same doubts that drove him away. She writes about becoming less certain the more they discover. It's like this perfect encapsulation of the scientific paradox.
Well, it reminds me of that famous quote from Richard Feynman. The first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. Both characters seem to be grappling with that idea in their own ways.
That's such a great connection. And you know what's fascinating? The story uses weather as this brilliant metaphor for the limits of human knowledge. Like we can predict it to some extent, but we can never fully control it.
So, what do you think this tells us about the broader relationship between scientific progress and ethical responsibility?
Well, I think it suggests that progress isn't always linear. Sometimes taking a step back, or sideways, can actually lead to deeper understanding. In Alistair's case, his weather forecasting directly impacts local farmers' livelihoods. There's an immediate, tangible consequence to his work.
The story really challenges our assumptions about what constitutes meaningful scientific contribution, doesn't it?
Exactly. And it's particularly relevant now when we're facing these huge ethical questions about AI, genetic engineering, and climate change. Like Alistair, we're all trying to figure out how to balance progress with responsibility.
You know what's interesting? The way both characters end up questioning the same fundamental issues, just from different vantage points. It's like they're two sides of the same coin.
And that's what makes their parallel journeys so compelling. Evelyn stays within the system, accumulating accolades and funding, but gradually confronting the same doubts that drove Alistair to leave. Meanwhile, he's finding purpose in applying his expertise in a way that directly serves his community.
The ending really brings it all together. That image of him smiling as he gets back to work, despite the howling wind outside. It's like he's found peace with the uncertainty.
You know, in many ways, this story reflects a broader shift happening in science today. There's growing recognition that sometimes the most impactful work happens not in prestigious labs, but in direct application to real-world problems.
Well, it certainly gives us a lot to think about regarding how we measure success and progress in scientific pursuits.
Looking ahead, I think this story raises some crucial questions about how we'll navigate similar choices in our own fields. Maybe the key isn't choosing between pure research and practical application, but finding ways to bridge that gap.
That's such a thoughtful way to look at it. It's not about right or wrong choices, but about finding our own path to contribute meaningfully.
And perhaps that's the most valuable lesson here, that wisdom isn't just about accumulating knowledge, but understanding how to apply it in ways that truly serve humanity.